Right. You want to start us off again?
Yeah, sure.
223.
Hey, ladies and... What?
I was
Fucked me up.
Yeah, I was saying for my own benefit, 223 is what we were at.
Alright. Hey, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Podsplosion. I'm Proto. This is Goat.
Hey.
How you guys doing?
They're not gonna respond, Proto.
You don't know that.
Well, even if they did, we wouldn't be able to hear it.
If YouTube still had video responses, then we might, maybe.
That reference goes over. That reference goes over my head because even though I've been using YouTube since 2004, I've never understood crap about YouTube.
Oh. But we're not here to talk about how YouTube has changed over the past...
Generally,
we're here to
for
talk
the
about
worst.
Paper Mario. Yeah, for the worst. Yeah, that's an understatement of the century.
Paper Mario is a series near and dear to both of our hearts. We talk about it a lot. It's, I'd say quite possibly one of the series we based our friendship on.
More or less.
Yeah.
That and Phoenix Wright.
Yeah, Ace Attorney was the big one. We met on an Ace Attorney-themed blog. No, like, I like the work we did there, but gosh, am I embarrassed remembering it a couple years later.
I like to take some past memories and lock them up inside a little tiny box inside of my head and wish that I could forget them completely. But then they sneak out. And
I did a lot of good sprite edits for it.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Super Saiyan Judge.
Yeah. That was
my favorite one.
That was a fucking pain in the ass because in the Judge sprite from Ace Attorney Investigations has the weirdest blink cycle. It's like blink, 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 blink. It's yeah.
That is kind of weird.
That's because he's old and he has bad eyes, and it's like artistically it's really good. It's just hard to make new GIFs out of it because.
Oh, ew! You call them GIFs?
That's what they're called.
I don't care. It's a GIF.
That's what they're called.
You don't call it Jold. You call it gold.
Yeah, but you don't call it a giraffe either.
Very true.
English sucks. We are back on topic. We are going to play all of the Paper Mario games eventually for the channel. I think... How did we say we were going to do it? I'm going to do Sticker Star and the first one. And
yeah, and I'm stuck with Thousand Year Door and Super.
Yeah.
I love Thousand Year Door. So good. We will get more into detail about our love for that game later in this podcast.
He absolutely hates Super, and that's one of the big things that we do not agree on here. But
yeah,
that's part of why he's playing it. Like, I cannot stand Sticker Star either. So we each picked a good one, and we each picked a bad one.
Yeah, we also each picked the other one's favorite.
Yeah. I think there wasn't really a rationale behind that. I just hadn't played the original in a long time, and I wanted to.
Yeah, and I do technically need to go back to Super real soon, but... But let's start from the very beginning. Paper Mario on the Nintendo 64. How did you get introduced to that game?
I can't say exactly. It's very likely it was through Nintendo Power. I mostly just followed my brother for everything video game related when I was a kid. I know we were big fans of Super Mario RPG, like way before the N64 even came out. That's a lie. I was born when the N64 came out, but...
But you basically were a generation behind in terms of playing games.
Yeah, because, again,
I
always
you were like
just
me.
followed my brother.
I was born around the time when, like, Sega Saturn had already been out, but, yeah, I was playing Genesis, NES. I was back then. The past. I do remember how I got introduced to the game. You remember Blockbuster, Goat?
I try not to.
Well, I didn't learn about it through Blockbuster. I learned about it through something that was more or less the exact same as Blockbuster, a special little thing called Movie Gallery. A place where you could rent movies and games, and I went there a lot to rent games a lot. And back in the day, like, it lasted a while, actually, from, like, Nintendo 64 era all the way to the Wii. It lasted a long time. But,
you know
eventually...
that rental stores still exist, right? Like, you're talking about them like...
Yeah,
like...
I know, but Movie Gallery specifically, it lasted for quite a while. And it's also a place, like, this down south, in a town literally titled Quit Man. I was surprised that it lasted that long, but I love going to that place. That's actually where I got Dragon Quest Heroes Rocket Slime, a DS game, when they actually didn't have DS games for rental, which I'm wondering why they were able to sell them when they were going out of business, but...
Oh, we had a place in town that had DS games for rent. That was the best place.
But I digress. Back when the 64 was out, and they were letting you rent games, back in the day, I didn't own any games for the Nintendo 64. All I did was rent games. I always rented Banjo-Tooie. I almost rented Superman 64, and thank God I didn't. I rented Pokemon Puzzle League, Mario Party 1, control stick spinning,
Oh, fuck.
But...
There was one place in town, it burned down when I was like 4, but you could actually rent consoles there. So,
Really?
I think my babysitter had an N64, and that's where I first played it, but I actually pretty distinctly recall renting a Nintendo 64, renting a controller, renting an expansion pack, and renting Donkey Kong 64.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's weird. But one of those games that I constantly rented was Paper Mario. And back then, in the days of renting and only 4 save files, there was no rules, there were no laws. Every save file got deleted by every other kid that played. So I kinda started at weird points. Like, there was one time early on when I was first playing that I was in the very end of Bowser's Castle at the end of the game. And I was like, how do I open these doors? How do I get through here? What is happening? Who is this following behind me? It was utterly confusing. But there was one day they were selling the Nintendo 64 games. The first game I wanted to get was Banjo-Tooie. It was already gone. And then I felt bad, because I really loved that game. But then I got Puzzle League, Mario Party 1, and then Paper Mario. And then I played the shit out of it.
I feel bad for not having more stories about Paper Mario, but for as long as I remember, we just had a copy.
Yeah. Well, it's nice to be able to reminisce about the good old days, whether you already more or less had a copy, or you remember the very day that you met it. Its beautiful eyes, its weird box art.
I swear I'll stop going off topic. I just want to say, while we're talking about buying things from rental places, there was one place in town that you could rent Earthbound, and because Earthbound had the big box, you had to ask for it specifically at the counter. It wasn't just on the shelf. And when they went out of business, I was like, hey, can I buy Earthbound? And he said, is it on the shelf? And I was like, well, no, it's never on the shelf. Like, I can see it in the back room. It's that big box. Oh, if it's not on the shelf, it's not for sale.
What?
Yeah.
Did they just toss it out?
No, I'm pretty sure one of the employees probably took it, but yeah, that one guy was a dick, because I was like 6, and I loved that game, and now that I'm older, I have another copy, but now that I'm older, I'm mad that I don't have 2 copies.
Well, you made up for it by having 5 Power Punches and 5 Sonic Unleashed. I still need one of those, by the way.
Yeah, as soon as I find something else to send you, because it's not worth it sending a single game to Georgia.
You don't need to send me like 50 million things in a box. Like, you did that last time and it was awesome. I love it. I still have Captain Ginyu showing me his ass right now. But, you know.
Send me a picture of that for later so I can show our friends.
Alright. But, yeah, Paper Mario.
I don't
can
have...
I just...
Oh, go ahead.
can I just say, what a weird, like, release date for it. Like, it was around it was actually the same year the GameCube came out, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was definitely one of the later ones.
Yeah, it was like one of the last N64 games to be released. And it kind of really does show because it has a lot of polish and a lot of, like, it looks really, really good for a Nintendo 64 game.
Oh yeah, the last year of any console's life cycle is where you always get the best shit out of it.
Yeah, Kirby's Adventure was also one of the last games on the NES. It looks also really, really good.
See, people always say that. I never got the appeal. It's a little too stylized and makes it look cheaper to me.
And to each their own.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm not gonna deny that it's a
does
technical marvel. I just don't think it's the prettiest game on the NES.
Yeah. Meanwhile, some of the early games on new systems tend to look like at best, the late games of the last generation.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy IV still looks like an NES game on the Super Nintendo.
But Final Fantasy IV, the actual fourth one, or Final Fantasy, the one that was labeled 4 in America?
Final Fantasy, the one that was labeled 2 in America.
Okay. Yes, I agree with that.
Final Fantasy IV, the actual fourth game, was there? I thought it was 1, 2, 3, then 7 in America.
I thought the one labeled 4 in America was 6, the one with Kefka. I'm not big on the Final Fantasy
that was
games.
Final Fantasy. That was named Final Fantasy 3. I remember that specifically because I watched another channel do a playthrough of it.
Okay, yeah, never mind then. I know them by their Japanese numbers better than the American ones, for obvious reasons.
Same. Yeah, because that's a lot less dumb. But enough about Final Fantasy. Yeah, Paper Mario looks good. What were you gonna say before?
All I was gonna say is I don't have a lot of specific memories about Paper Mario. I have a lot of really general feelings and general compliments, but, like, actually playing it and, like, moment to moment in the game, I don't remember much. Like, Paper Mario is just this vague, fuzzy, happy spot in my memory. I remember the Nintendo Power issues. I fucking loved Nintendo Power as a kid, and you got the, like, first 6 worlds guide for free. Yeah. It was nice, but the information wasn't good.
RPG.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I actually never had Nintendo Power. The closest thing I had was Tips and Tricks and GamePro.
I think I had GamePro for a while, but I was a Nintendo kid all the way, so GamePro never really had anything that mattered.
Tips and Tricks was nice because it had cheat codes back at the end of the book. And I loved that section to death.
I remember at a Scholastic book fair once getting a cheat code book, and like it was trying to be all hip and cool and down with the youth, but all of the cheat codes in it were for, like, the NES and the original Game Boy, and the Game Boy Advance had come out at this point in history.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Hold on. I think I actually have one of those. I'll have to check, like, later. But, yeah, remind me, because I think I have something that looks like that.
I don't remember what it was called. All I remember is the cover of it, like, had that fake Matrixy look, where everything was green and made out of symbols.
No. I think the one that I've got is the ones with the squiggly lines and the triangles. So, Paper Mario was a fuzzy, good spot in your memory, more or less.
Yeah. I think we.
And that's why you want to revisit it for the channel.
Yeah, just because I've played through the Thousand Year Door so many more times than I played through the original. I actually know a lot of the little details about it.
So yeah, that's Thousand Year Door is more your thing, which is why I'm gonna be the one playing it.
You know, it kind of ends up being a cycle where, like, I don't remember much about Paper Mario except for, like, the nice nostalgic storybook feeling, but I remember the Thousand Year Door being a little more involved and action-packed, so whenever I'd be like, oh, I want to play a Paper Mario game, I always end up replaying the Thousand Year Door because I remember it more.
Yeah, and I will agree with you there. Thousand Year Door is a lot more action-packed, and 64 is more of that, fuzzy, happy storybook feeling. But that's also what gets me about 64. I just love going to that game. It is quite possibly my de facto relaxation game. I never really have any trouble with it. I love every place in it. It's a huge, there's basically not much that it really does wrong. It's pure, fun, simple enjoyment. And, Thousand Year Door, fantastic game, just right behind it. It has its, small issues, despite its improvements, its massive improvements over certain things.
I mean, the way I always try to describe it when I compare them is, the original Paper Mario doesn't really do anything wrong, but it hovers at a consistent, 9.1 out of 10. Even though the Thousand Year Door has its faults, it goes back and forth between, 8 to 12, and I feel like when you average it out, it comes out just barely better than the original.
Yeah, and that's what the general consensus is about Thousand Year Door. People do remember some of the pretty terrible issues that we'll get into later when we talk about that game specifically, because I feel we'll have a lot more to talk about in general for Thousand Year Door than 64.
Because it's easier to complain about things, and there's just nothing to complain about in the original.
Yeah, and, I'm gonna give it total credit. Paper Mario 64 plays it pretty safe, but because it does that, it also just generally is a good, well-designed adventure, and that's something that I can really, really adore about it.
The entire theme is that it is a storybook. It was originally called Mario's Story.
Right.
And you do get those vibes. It's something relaxing, inspiring, really pretty. It doesn't need to be anything more, because it never wanted to be anything more.
Right. And, sometimes it's just what you need. Sometimes you don't need a super compelling, story. You don't need, super, action-packed filled gameplay. Sometimes you just want to relax and enjoy it, and Paper Mario 64 is just a great relaxation game. Others, not to say... Oh, you go on.
If I had to come up with any minor complaint for it, I will say this, and this is true of every Paper Mario game. A lot of the side quests are really out of the way and obtuse and kind of unnecessary.
Yeah, I'll agree there.
I do remember the last time I played through getting the whatever card to go to the game room.
The Koopa Koot side quests.
Yeah! And there's nothing wrong with going back to visit Koopa Koot a couple times. It's just the fact that you have to run all over the fucking planet to get these random items for this old guy, and you have to keep coming back and keep coming back and keep coming back.
I think the worst of it is that one specific a letter side quest where you gotta go all around to meet these old fucking guys, get them all joined up together for some big thing, and then you get a badge that isn't really worth the trouble.
Oh yeah, I feel like the optimal badge loadout you can get just by playing through the game without even trying. I don't think I have ever purchased a badge in the badge shop.
I purchased the one that gets you the faster spin just because I like going faster.
Paper Mario, I think, might actually be one of the only games where I don't succumb to optimal strategy. I'm definitely the kind of person to...
Oh, yeah.
Roll through Hyrule Field to get through it 15 milliseconds faster, but spinning...
Oh, you don't roll. You either...
Yeah, you L-target and you side jump. I know.
Yeah.
If you're really doing pro strats, you bomb surf.
Oh,
no, but
God.
I don't spin in Paper Mario. At all. Ever.
I just do it when I'm, going out of my way for something, or when I am doing like a specific speedy, you gotta be fast to get to some certain place. Mainly, you know the one room in Koopa Village with the guy that has a radio, and you can change the channel to play the Mario World ending theme?
Mm-hmm.
There's also, and I actually didn't learn about this until, I think a couple of my last playthroughs ago. I recently found out there's like a small little radio contest thing where you gotta find this guy at this certain place before time runs out, and you get an item for it. And I never knew that existed. But it's neat. It's actually something that I praise the Sonic games for, is that there's some stuff that you don't know about, even with multiple playthroughs of the game, and you figure that shit out, and it's like, holy shit, I didn't know this was there. This is really cool.
I guess that is the one benefit of all the side quests being so far out of your way.
You explore more.
Yeah, because then on your second playthrough, you're always going to talk to more people and go out of your way more just because you're more familiar with it, and that's when you start to find them.
Right. You said before of optimal strategy. Speaking of certain optimal strategies, I guess we should get into one of the major ones, a Danger Mario run.
It's something I'm aware of. It's something I've never tried. I think when I do...
it's easier to do in Thousand Year Door.
Oh, way easier to do in Thousand Year Door. After you do your playthrough, I'm going to do the retextured Thousand Year Door.
Oh, the repainted one?
Yeah.
That's so good.
And I'm going to do a Danger Mario run in that. Just like a quick series.
Yeah. You're gonna go for, like, all the badges that you can buy in the not the badge shop, the arcade.
Beyond Parlor?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Because max out your power to 99. Or as the repainted version probably says, double zeros. No, wait, they repainted the 1 damage into a 0.
Oh, hey, talking about texture packs and, the original Paper Mario again. How excited...
New Paper Mario!
Yeah, how excited are you for New Paper Mario, if it ever comes out?
If it ever comes out, I want it so badly. It looks so good.
The only thing I hate about it is that the artist is so dead set on it being like a one-person project. Like, I've seen so many people be like, please take my art, because if you had like 5 people working on that, it would be out by now.
Oh yeah, totally. And it does suck, but man, when that does come out, that's going to be so good.
They also took the legs off the Yoshis. You know, and that's not something that I think would have bothered me really until someone pointed it out, but like in the original Paper Mario, the Yoshis have really prominent legs, but then in the later ones, I guess they just gave them like floating feet.
I think they still kind of had legs in Thousand Year Door, but there was only like 2 instances of an adult Yoshi. The one on the train and the one the ones in the Stampede.
Yeah, and who the fuck looks at the train one? I didn't know the train one even existed, honestly, until someone pointed out to me, I think on Super Mario Bros.
Yeah, whenever I go to the Poshley Heights, you know, whenever I do like one or so revisit. Yeah, but I love the XS Express. It's so good. Also, you get a kid that gives you, I believe, a star piece if you do a quiz right, and he asks you who stole the Star Rod in the first game.
Mm-hmm.
That's neat.
Oh,
and bring it back to Paper Mario.
That is something that I miss so much from the first one that I don't think I even realized I missed, because I forgot it existed. Chuck Quizmo!
Yes! Chuck Quizmo.
Chuck Quizmo was the best. Why did they never bring him back?
I don't know. I mean, he kind of got an XP in Mario Party 8. Sort of. I mean, it was a worm guy with a top hat, so...
Yeah, because that's totally the same thing.
Well, I mean, it looks similar.
I mean, quiz shows are kind of weirdly a running theme in the Paper Mario series. I just think, like,
quiz shows and 3D pigs.
Yeah. What is the point of the little oinks?
The little oinks to be adorable, and to also net you good items.
Okay, that's what they... Okay, like, I get that they drop items, I can never bring myself to do it, because even if I get one of the rare ones, to get the rare item, I have to first drive the rare pig out, and then to grab the item, I have to let my other pigs run away.
Yeah.
Like you're asking me to hurt these cute things that I love for something that realistically I'm never even gonna use. Do you use items, like, basically ever in Paper Mario?
I use shooting stars when I'm feeling lazy, but even then, you know, that stops being useful after a while. I use occasionally, like, whack-a-bumps or super shrooms with jelly or maple whatever syrups,
I mean, like, I'll bring healing items into boss fights, and if I'm really desperate, I'll just unload whatever I have on enemies. But
yeah,
I feel like I've seen...
You use more items in the first game than you do the second, I'll say that.
I've seen people who are bad at Paper Mario play Paper Mario, and I've noticed that they rely on items a lot more. So I don't... Yeah, I didn't want to say it. But, yeah.
Throwing all the shade. That's what Proto does best.
But I mean, more than just Game Grumps. Like, yeah. Honestly, like...
a lot of new Paper Mario players.
Almost anybody who's not, like, a lifetime gamer who knows RPG mechanics. So maybe it is just a skill thing. Like, the reason I'm able to rack up thousands upon thousands of coins and never use items is just because I'm more in tune with RPG mechanics, but... Yeah. It always makes it seem like such a waste, because there's so many cool items.
Yeah. I actually will say this. Paper Mario 64 is a smidge bit more difficult in the beginning than Thousand Year Door is. Mainly in that, from the second chapter onwards, you do have enemies that deal a little bit more damage, and you also get more spiky enemies and enemies with a higher defense. But also on the flip side, you've got a Bob-omb on your party member, or on your party, and you know that can do serious damage as well. So it's a half and half sort of thing.
There's a small difference. I feel like you have more options to have more playstyles earlier on in 64 than you do in Thousand Year Door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One more aspect I feel I should go into about, like, you know, Paper Mario 64, or I guess, you know, it'll encompass the entire series, so I guess it won't matter anyway. The Merlin family. Since they, you know, appear in every game, you know, before Sticker Star.
I have mixed feelings about the Merlin family, honestly. Like,
I liked them in the first game. Second game onwards, I really could not care about them.
I liked them in the first game. I liked them enough
I like Merlee
in the second game. You know, I like that there's references to them, and, like, they all talk about each other, and there's the intercontinuity in the second game. But,
yeah.
Like, by Super, and like you said, they didn't even appear in Sticker Star, all the references to the Merlin family in Super were just like, oh, they're trying so hard to make it feel like a Paper Mario game. And it just didn't work.
Yeah.
It made me miss the good Merlin.
You know, what I actually really liked about the Merlin family in the first game over every other game is that they're more intertwined with the story. Like, Merlin is a reoccurring, like, assisting character throughout the story. And you can also go to him whenever you need help, you know, next in the game. And he also lives close to, like, two of his siblings. And, you know, it's nice to have them, you know, all nearby, like, tightly knit. You can tell that they're a really close family. The second game onward, it doesn't really feel like that. I don't even think they're related from the second game onward.
They're related. I mean, like, they're extended family, but... I don't
like, well, you go on.
Like, the kids who, like, trade you the star pieces and have the treasure chest, they're not Merlin's siblings, are they? I always assumed they were, like, his niece and nephew or something.
Niece and nephew, I believe. Yeah, I believe that's, yeah. But, what I mean is just like family members are close. What I don't like in 2 is why is Chet Rippo suddenly a Merlin family member in Thousand Year Door? That's weird. I mean, granted, his original look as a platypus was very weird too, but
there were a lot of weird things he just didn't really question in the original one. And considering his name is Chet Rippo, like, I feel like he has a little more leeway to be a weird character.
Yeah. 64 had so many great names. You had Chet Rippo, who would distribute your health, flower, and badge points, and then there was Rip Cheeto, who gave you dried shrooms for 64 coins, and also star pieces, but, you know. 64 was weird, but I love it.
It all added to that, like, childlike storybook atmosphere, I think.
It was all charming.
Yeah.
Oh, one
really
more thing.
Go ahead.
You go on.
I really like the naming convention for the Toads. I really don't like how much Nintendo ignores the Paper Mario games, because I feel like the Paper Mario games set up, like, exactly the right way to handle Mario lore and the world building.
I love the Toad names in the series.
Mm-hmm. But you only get them in Paper Mario. Like, how fucking great would it be, like, in your intro level to Mario Galaxy and whatever, going around the Star Festival and being able, not just talking to Toad number 638, but talking to Minty and Tasty and Zesty.
Yeah, that would be neat. But I actually completely forgot about one thing in Paper Mario 64. The Master and his dojo.
Yeah.
I like the concept of this super, like, old man, like, at first being just old and frail, but also still being able to kick ass, and then also suddenly being able to turn Super Saiyan and Super Saiyan 2 and wrecking your shit. I love that.
I like being able to go back and feeling like being able to get progressively more powerful.
Yes, that's the concept I like the most.
My only problem with it is I never remember to do it till the very end of the game, and then it's just like a quick little marathon where you curb stomp everybody, and it's not a satisfying fight compared to the other bonus bosses in the Mario series, especially if you're counting Super Mario RPG, not just the Paper Marios. He doesn't feel like big and challenging and end of the world enough to.
But he also doesn't, like, frustrate you to get to, which is what, from Thousand Year Door onwards, is kind of the main running gag of bonus bosses. The only other bonus boss in 64 was, like, the third blooper, which you didn't have to fight him if you didn't go out of your way through the sewers at first.
There was
bloopers.
There was
There was also
Koopa.
Koopa.
Yep.
There was Kenzie Koopa, who was susceptible to sleep. And there was the anti-guy, which was susceptible to paralysis. And then there was the triple anti-guy fight in Bowser's Castle. I've only beaten that once. I tried it once, and I beat it, and I never did it again because it nearly killed me.
I always go out of my way to kill the one anti-guy, just because I feel like I can do that.
I feel tough, I feel brave, I can do that.
Yeah, if I can't kill one anti-guy, then I have no right playing video games, but 3...
I did it once, man, and it wasn't even a Danger Mario run. I did that shit. Hardcore.
That's another thing that goes back to Super Mario RPG, isn't it? There was those 3 super hard Shy Guys that you could find around Booster Tower.
I think so. I don't really remember Super Mario RPG that much. That would probably be a discussion for a playthrough of that.
I fucking love Super Mario RPG. The only reason I remember those 3 guys is because I remember thinking, like, oh, I should really go back and fight those guys, but I wanted to finish Booster Tower first, and I think they despawn from the older... Excuse me. Despawn from the overworld after you defeat the cake. That's a weird sentence.
Yeah, that is. There was one last thing I was gonna say about the Master.
You
and
can
this
make
is just
Mario
really random.
and Bowser kiss in that game.
Yes. The one thing I that's always stuck with me, and I've never been able to say it before ever in my life until now. The song that plays for the fight against the Master, I love that track, but it reminds me of one of the songs in Scooby-Doo Cyber Chase. That is random and out of nowhere, but I've always thought that. I need to find that song and link you, because you need to hear that. You need to hear that, then hear the Master theme, and you'll never be able to get it out of your head.
I think I actually even know what one you're talking about, too. No,
it's the one for the montage when they're going through all the levels, and they don't want to show all the effort and work into it.
Which is stupid, because all the most creative parts were in that montage, and they skipped right over it.
Yeah. But you remember the song now, don't you?
Scooby-Doo and the Cyber Chase came out at, like, the perfect time for my, like, young kid ass to be into Scooby-Doo. So I watched it religiously. They also had toys at Taco Bell, and Taco Bell was my favorite restaurant as a kid. But no, looking back as an adult, Scooby-Doo and the Cyber Chase is one of the worst Scooby-Doo movies. But that's how Scooby-Doo makes its money. Like, there's always a new generation of kids who are just old enough to be getting into Scooby-Doo, and they will swallow anything. And then, like, once
John Cena.
That one is funny, just for how ridiculous it is. All of the WWE crossovers.
Yeah, no, but then multiple ones, weren't there?
Like, you take any kid who's into Scooby-Doo meets John Cena, and you show him Scooby-Doo and Zombie Island, and they will never be able to watch a crappy Scooby-Doo cash-in ever again.
Oh, man. Zombie Island, that was a great one.
That was the best one. The Hex Girls, do you remember the Hex Girls?
Yes! They're... Oh...
Any movie or episode with the Hex Girls is top-level Scooby-Doo.
Yes. Wasn't there another one? I think it was The Witch's Ghost. I don't know if that also had the Hex Girls in it, but that was also really good.
That was from the same, like, couple years where they were doing the same art style.
That was also the one with the weird alien movie that wasn't that great.
Yeah. I mean, they can't all be winners.
But yeah, now, boom boom diggy diggy day all night. And that's the only song I can hear whenever I listen to the Master theme. It will be in your head. But
the only bonus boss in Thousand Year Door was Bonetail, right?
I want to say yes.
Like, there was very definitely supposed to be a bonus boss fight against Prince Mush, but it doesn't exist for one reason or another.
Yeah, you can fight Rockhawk over and over and over again if you want to, with the same one rule.
The last time I played through the game, I was going for a complete tattle log, but I forgot to tattle, like, the level 3 competitor in the Glitz Pit. So after I was the champion and I realized I missed it, I just had to, like, sit there and lose fights.
Every fight.
Yeah.
That must have hurt your soul.
It's more tedious than anything, because everybody's so shit at killing me, and that was after I beat the game, so I had, like, 50 HP.
You know what I'm wondering, though? There's a part, like, in the first run-through of the Glitz Pit, where, like, 2 or 3 new competitors, like, end up on the roster. I wonder if you can intentionally lose, get all the way back to the very bottom, and fight them again.
I don't think so. Sir Swoop is his name.
Yeah, Sir Swoop, but there's another one, I believe, because I recently played it. I don't remember the name. I don't know. But, I guess since we're on the topic, Thousand Year Door. How'd you get into it? Tit Yard.
Yeah, no, I pronounce every game, like, as a word, the abbreviation of it, so...
Are you a fan of LOL?
I hate LOL. I mean, I feel like every good person hates LOL.
I've never tried it, so...
How did I get into it, you say?
Yes.
I mean, I actually remember this time, but it's not an exciting story. I was already a fan from the first one, so when I heard there was a new Paper Mario, I went out and I bought a new Paper Mario.
Yeah, that's more or less the same thing that happened to me. Though I read about it in funny enough, tips and tricks I was saying earlier. And it looked so cool, and I was so excited that I jumped on my granny's trampoline a bunch and pretended that I was Mario. And I thought that Goombella was actually Goombario's sister from the first game.
Goombet? Was that her name?
Goombaria, I believe.
Goombaria. Right.
Yeah.
Who's Goombet? Is there a Goombet? That sounds like such an awfully generic name. There must be.
Yeah, they didn't even use that. Yeah. It's. I saw it in the magazine. I was super excited, and those were the longest months I've ever waited in my life.
I have very vague memories. Like, I don't think I put the dots all together. Like, fortunately, whenever I spoil myself on things, I'm usually not too spoiled because I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
I remember the Nintendo Power spread had the full cover of the game on the cover of the issue. And you can see in the background of the cover, the box art for Paper Mario Tit Yard, the X-Naut base on the moon. And
That's right, you can.
Yeah, and I picked up on that, and I thought, like, oh, cool, there's going to be a space level. And then, like, I got all the way to the end of the game, and Professor Frankly was like, oh shit, you gotta go to the moon, and it still caught me off guard, even though the first thing I knew about the game was there was a moon level.
And then it turned out that the moon level was pretty shit until you get into the part where you're not on the moon. Well,
I don't mind
you're
it
still
that
on the
much.
moon, but you're, not on the actual moon itself.
I don't mind it that much. I really hated that low gravity feeling, so...
I don't mind the low gravity, I don't like the slow.
Yeah. I guess same difference in my mind. No, but I mean, the big appeal of it wasn't that you were on the moon, it's that you were playing through those levels that you were seeing as Princess Peach all this time.
Yeah, that and being shot out of a fucking cannon!
Not just being shot out of a fucking cannon, being shot out of a fucking cannon powered by, like, 20,000 suicidal bombs.
Don't worry, I can see their parachutes! They're fine! It's actually true, because you do see their parachutes.
You do. I've never understood how the bombs work
beforehand,
in Paper Mario games.
They explode, and then they just reappear. Except when they're your enemies, in which case they will kill themselves to try and kill you. Scary, very scary when you're doing a Danger Mario run.
Yeah, but when you're doing a Danger Mario run, you just have your entire inventory full of life shrooms.
Yeah, that. Also, early on in the game, and the earliest time you can fight them is in the Glitz Pits, where there's 4 of them, and, you try and get them all in one shot with Koops, and you're like, yeah, I did it! Oh shit,
but then you
they're
just
all running
end up
after
lighting
me.
all 4 of them. Yep.
Yeah, and then I just get destroyed. And it's like, oh, alright, I'll see myself out.
Bob-ombs. I know that I'm a little frustrated at the regular Bob-ombs, but I can't stay mad at them, because so much of my anger is directed at the bulky Bob-ombs, or the Bob-bulks.
Yes, the 2 variants of them, they fucking suck.
I think that the harder variant only appears in the Pit of 100 Trials, I'm pretty sure. But
they
I
only appear
hate
in
them
the pit,
so much that I cannot find any hate in my heart for just the regular Bob-ombs.
Yeah, the little Bob-ombs are adorable. There are 2 big issues with the big fat Bob-ombs. One, they're really ridiculously tough, defensive, aggressive enemies. Well, not aggressive, they just really hit hard when they finally explode because they buff themselves up.
And they take out half your audience when they're in the audience.
And they also take up 2 seats because they're fat fucks that didn't go on a diet.
Yeah! So yeah, I think most of my hate for them isn't even from battling them. Battling them sucks too, but...
But they're only in that one chapter.
Yeah, and you don't even have to fight them that often.
Right.
I love the audience mechanic and the star power mechanic, but because so much of the star power system is random chance, there's a couple things that, even if it only happens once or twice, it sticks with you for the rest of your life and you hate it forever.
What's that? You need star power in order to do this thing in the Glitz Bits? Well, here, have an
Here's
audience full of
100 dry
drivers.
bones! My fucking god!
Yeah.
That happened to me in the Pit of 100
Oh.
Trials. I was on level 92. I had 4 and 9/10 of star power, and you need 5 for Sweet Feast. And that I was banking on so hard, if I get the Sweet Feast first turn, I'll be able to survive this. Dry bones!
You can actually get star power from them if you appeal.
Yeah, but I couldn't.
But just not from regular stuff.
I still didn't get enough from appealing with my partner to be able to do the Sweet Feast.
Oh, that's painful, though.
I mean, that's not only a Paper Mario feel, but I have more memories of it being a Paper Mario feel where you're
Because it hurt you a lot in Paper Mario
barely
specifically.
sliver, 1 pixel away from having a full attack bar or special bar.
It's like when you're playing Gold and Silver and you're about to level up when your Pokemon's about to learn a new move that would crush the rest of this team, and the experience bar is all the way completely full, but since it's Gold and Silver, it's not actually completely full and you don't level up. And then the next Pokemon is a Voltorb that knows Explosion. Oh, and there goes your last party member.
I've
That was
never
very
had that
specific
experience.
Because it happened to me once.
Yeah, I can
It happened
tell.
to me once and it makes me cry.
Yeah, my entire Pokemon strategy is have my starter over-leveled by 15 levels and never use anything else.
Well, yeah, you could do starter-only runs because they're very viable party members.
I kind of like how they never balanced Pokemon games. That's very clearly not the way you're supposed to play Pokemon, but that's the way most
you mean
people
you're
play
supposed
Pokemon.
to have, 6 Tyrannotars?
Well, you're supposed to, catch and train new Pokemon every single town. The idea is that you're supposed to, constantly be adding and rebalancing your team, and that's why they always give you Pokemon that are good for the gym, around the gym.
Except for, Brock.
Mm.
And technically Giovanni as well, since first town, kinda not really a lot of higher level Pokemon there.
Yeah, but Giovanni's late enough in the game that they expect you to have a party you're
yeah.
comfortable with by now.
Right.
I don't know. I have a lot to complain about the first generation of Pokemon, but that's not what we're here for.
Poor Blaine, a fire-type gym leader on a very small island surrounded by water.
I mean, it's thematically
With a-
appropriate because he's in a volcano.
Where's the volcano in the first generation, and for that matter, in Generation 3? Because it's just a block.
Hey, Proto, what do you wear on your head that keeps you dry but isn't a hat?
Hair?
A wig. The answer was a
Oh.
wig. Did you watch the anime?
Oh, I thought you were just asking me a random question. It's like, okay.
No, I remember that annoyed me even as a kid. Nothing, like none of the puzzles that Blaine gave out to Ash made any sense or progressed the story at all.
What? How do you keep warm and cool at the same time? I liked Ash's answer.
An electric
you
blanket in
sleep
front of an open
an electric
refrigerator.
blanket in front of an open refrigerator. I loved Ash's answers in those episodes. They were great.
Oh, the first season of the Pokemon anime was amazing. Just in
Yes.
general, overall.
Yeah, I need to rewatch that again sometime. It was good.
I remember when they used to marathon it every year on Cartoon Network.
And now they don't have it on Cartoon Network or Boomerang anymore. Disney has it. So we can't watch the older episodes on Boomerang.
Yeah, but they have to use all that space for Teen Titans Go and the PPG reboot. I mean,
and the
what
Ben
what
10
else is
reboot.
Boomerang for, right?
Sonic Boom.
That was sarcastic.
Oh yeah.
It's all coming back to you.
Yeah. That was a Boomerang slogan. Holy shit, man.
Mm-hmm.
I only barely caught that. Thanks. Thanks for giving me memories. Aw, man, now I've got memories of Boomerang and the small shorts that were really funny. The El Kabong one,
I get why they don't really do it anymore, because Boomerang just isn't a profitable channel. And, like, they didn't have a dumping ground in the higher channels like Nickelodeon and Disney Channel did, but...
Yeah.
God, it still
Cartoon
sucks.
Network, I still think, is the best out of the three. Like Disney, Nickelodeon, and Cartoon Network. It's mainly because of Adult Swim and sort of Boomerang.
I feel like Cartoon Network in general still has the best original content. But
I agree.
But they're such a shitty company that,
yes.
like, even when they have the good original content, they don't play it enough, they don't advertise enough, they don't merchandise for it enough. Because if you can...
Yeah.
If you can
can
put
make good
another
shit.
4 hours of Teen Titans Go, you can sell another Teen Titans Go t-shirt at Target that all the 5-year-olds will buy. And I do want to be clear before we get back on topic, I don't have anything against Teen Titans Go as a show. I feel like it is, like, decent for what it is. It's a good comedy with a few surprisingly clever comic book jokes in it. It's just the fact that they play it 20 hours a day.
Voice actors.
You know, and
It
they
got all
have...
the original voice actors, which is great.
And they're clearly having a ball with it. Like, in interviews,
Yeah.
they love working on the show. But my problem is, it just, they play
I just don't like
too
the
much.
content of it, and I don't like the fact that they show it near constantly.
It's the SpongeBob problem. They play it more because it has the best ratings, but it has the best ratings because they play the same
play it
episode
more.
10 times a day.
Exactly. And even then, I don't think Nickelodeon did it all the time with SpongeBob. Like,
They had a couple
still...
years that were pretty bad.
But they didn't show it on, like, oh, let's just have 10,000 episodes of SpongeBob on Nick Jr., on Teen Nick, on Nicktoons. Nicktoons was great. That was the first time Dragon Ball Z Kai was aired on TV.
Nicktoons is so funny to me because Nicktoons, like, general MO is whenever a show isn't doing good enough for Nickelodeon to care about
Toss
it,
it in there.
Just shove it over to Nicktoons Network to burn out the rest of the episodes. But by doing that, they make Nicktoons Network, like, the way better
Really
channel.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where I saw Martin Mystery.
Martin Mystery was good. That was by the same
Yes.
people who did Totally Spies, right?
Yeah, and they actually had a crossover episode that we didn't get to see because Totally Spies was in Cartoon Network.
Cartoon Network, yeah. Do you remember... what was it called? The Amazing Spies, I think? That was awful.
That was a sequel to Totally Spies, wasn't it? It started like three kids, didn't it? I remember
it started
that,
like
and it
10-year-old
was
boys
sort of
instead of
designed to look
16-year-old
more
girls.
comic booky. Yeah,
Yeah,
it looked
'cause
more
they-
comic booky. Yeah,
They were definitely going for a different
weird.
vibe with it. Amazing
Yeah,
Spies
and
was
it just
supposed to
wasn't my
be
thing.
like American superhero comics. Totally Spies was supposed to be more like shoujo inspired.
Yeah, anime-ish.
Shoujo is... never mind.
I don't know. I don't speak your Chamonese.
Well, no, because you had like Shonen Jump, which is where you got your Bleaches and your Narutos, and then you had Shoujo Beat, which is where you
And
had
your
your like,
JoJos.
teenage girl stuff.
Ah.
Like Vampire Knight premiered in Shoujo Beat, and I want to say maybe Sailor Moon did originally, but that's definitely not an area of expertise for me.
We should probably have a cartoon and anime podcast another time when we're not on Paper Mario.
Yeah, I've been drinking.
We've been going a bit too off topic.
We didn't prepare for this one, dear viewers.
Yeah, we didn't
because
prepare for this.
Because we thought that we would be able to just sit down and talk about Paper Mario for 2 hours, which we can definitely do, but...
Yeah, we can do, but then we just get sidetracked by things that we remember. It's like, oh man, oh man, oh man. And it's just that feeling.
No, we should do these podcasts more often. Because I
Yes.
feel like even if we do get long and rambly, I have fun doing these.
We can have a podcast about absolutely nothing and make absolutely everything in it.
So, Seinfeld.
Yeah, it's a show about nothing. How do you know when it's over? I do! Turn off the channel.
See, the funny thing about that... I want to tell you Seinfeld trivia, but we're getting off topic again.
I've never watched Seinfeld, so it doesn't matter.
Well, no, the basis of the show is Jerry Seinfeld's a comedian, and he ends every episode with a like little stand-up bit. The concept of the show is where a comedian gets his joke ideas. The whole show about nothing was just an advertising thing that took off too well.
Huh.
Yeah.
Weird. Paper Mario. So, why don't you go on and on about how you love this game first? I wanna hear the deets from your mouth.
I mean, again, I probably don't have anything like super specific. It's just like general feelings. I think the big things that put it over the top for me are like the towns and communities and NPCs all feel a lot more like real and deep in there. Whereas in the original, the communities were all like charming and nice and colorful, but they
very
felt
first
pretty...
thing that happens to you is jump by gang members and get half your money stolen.
Yeah, that adds to it. I think
makes you wonder if the guy could steal 50 coins from your wallet. Why doesn't he just steal every other coin?
I think the thing that makes a lot of the towns feel more real in the Thousand Year Door versus 64 is the towns all have like multiple species living in them. There's something inherently cartoony and childlike, I think, about like, oh, this is the town where all the friendly Koopas live, and this is the town where all of the friendly Bob-Ombs come from, and this is the town where all of the friendly whatevers.
Yeah. I do. Yeah, there's a lot more variety in the areas in Thousand Year Door. Hell, the island town that's made in Keelhaul Key is just, you know, a bunch of... Well, I guess it's really only toads and bombs, but...
It's a bunch of sailors, but it's... Yeah, no, it's...
Yeah. It's mainly,
diverse.
like, a new town forming with multiple, like, people working on it. Which is actually a neat detail.
I love when you do it, the Chapter 5 early glitch. You can talk to the people in that town before anybody gets stranded there. So you can talk to toads and bob-ombs that are like, oh, I'm starving, we've been here for months, and then you can take a pipe back and meet the same guy at the dock, and you're just like, yeah, I'm doing fine.
Yeah.
I appreciate in the Thousand Year Door over 64 that there's a bigger scope to it, and it's not afraid to get as dark. Again,
yes.
That's not something that I think that the first one was incapable of. It's just that the first one, again, because it didn't need to be anything more than what it was, it just rehashed the basic Mario story.
Right.
But because they already did the basic Bowser kidnaps Peach story, they had to get more creative and go out of their way for the Thousand Year Door.
Right.
Which
what I actually find to be neat about Thousand Year Door and what makes things a bit more interesting, like you're more interested in these characters, is that most of the people have some sort of issue. Like there's some sort of problem going on. They have something like really unique about them. Like everyone is a person. Mm-hmm. Like there's the kid that constantly plays Nintendo games. Buy our Nintendo products for a cheap price of $200. But there's the fighting guy, the fighting fan, and his son, who really, really loves your Yoshi for some reason.
Because your Yoshi's awesome?
Yeah.
Alright,
everyone has their own issues, their own personality. They're more unique. You remember them a lot better.
I think Rogueport itself is just dripping with personality.
Yes,
so I think
love it.
Because that sets the stage so well, even if the later areas, like Twilight Town comes to mind. Twilight Town wasn't interesting. No one in Twilight Town
wasn't interesting. Boggly Woods wasn't that great.
But because you're thrust into this world where like everybody's miserable and trying to make a life for themselves at this like big shitty trading city, it sets the tone to make everything else feel more interesting by default. If that makes any sense.
Yeah. And they're all still sort of interconnected. Like, the most connection that most, like, areas in the first game had were only, like, a small amount of characters and that goddamn letter side quest. But in here, like, everyone has their own everyone has their own interactions with, like, other people throughout the world.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing that helps that is the Trouble Center, which is your more or less your main, center for side quests.
I think kind of funnily, like in the first game, the only characters that were recurring that you saw from town to town were there were a couple like traveling people and bubulbs that were in every town you went to. And I really liked them in 64 because they were this like nice recurring thing. You got to follow their story.
Yeah.
In the 1,000-Year Door, that one fucking Afro Yoshi and the Traveling Sisters 3.
Was it Yoshi or a bear?
Yeah, he might have actually been like one of the... Shit, I think they're called Doggets. Like Arthur and Ishmael
1,000-Year Door was the game that introduced a lot of original new species.
Yeah.
Like, 64 had them. Like, there was the Duplicos, which were introduced in 64. But they really, like, went full force with it in, well, not full force, that's super. But, 1,000-Year Door was when they put a lot more characters in. Yeah, the Clubbas were also introduced in 64.
I like the Clubbas. The Bubulbs. I like the Bubulbers.
And the Bubulbs. And the Rough Puffs.
Yeah. God.
Yeah. I used
All
to
of
think
the
the
Mario
Bandits
RPGs
were
are
from
great.
Paper Mario 64.
They're from Yoshi's Island.
Yeah. I then realized later, because Yoshi's Island... Oh, well, love that game.
What I was saying before is the recurring characters in 64 were some of your favorite ones because they were the ones you got to follow and keep up with and had a story.
Yes.
The recurring characters...
Colorado sort of was like that.
The recurring characters in the 1,000-Year Door are the characters I hate the most because they don't do anything. They just show up. Why are they there? Meanwhile, any random kid you pass by on the street, if you keep talking to him throughout the story, he will have a story.
Yeah. Oh, he's playing through Fire Emblem. Oh, he's starting up 64. Oh, he's starting up Paper Mario 1,000-Year Door, and he beat the game. That's neat. Like, and the rat in Rogueport that sniffs you and tells where you've been.
Yeah,
a lot of
I forgot about him.
Yeah, there's a lot of like characters that have, unique like changing dialogue, and it's great.
Is it another tiny little thing I appreciate in Rogueport?
The noose.
That too. No, I didn't know what a noose was when I first played the game, so my first thought was like, oh, this. Yeah, this looks like that magical garden door from the first game, so I bet I'm gonna have to, like, go through here to go to some magical execution world eventually.
Mario, just stick your head through this portal.
Ooh, the map says that the next crystal star is in the far-off magical dimension of heaven. Well, only one way to get there.
I didn't get a star, but I found this weird heart. It talked shit about me until it died. I'm...
That was what I was saying is that
things that I'm not gonna like.
There's the rich side of Rogueport 2, and I appreciate
that area.
I like that everybody in the rich side of Rogueport has problems and hates their life and is trying to like get their shit worked out the same way everyone on the poor side is.
I feel so sorry for that, that husband and that kid who have that wife that's a constant, like, problem gambler.
The gambling addict. And then you talk to her at the end of the game and she's like, oh, well, maybe I should spend more time with my family after I spend another $1,000 at the arcade.
Yeah, it's just, what the hell, woman?
Mm-hmm. No, there is no minor... There's no minor character that I relate with more than the depressed Koopa author.
Yeah.
Do you remember him?
Sort of. Not entirely.
He was another character on the rich side of town. He was the house you had to go into to roll up to find that one, like, secret power block. But no, his entire thing was just like, I want to be productive and I want to be happy, but I've just been laying here all day and I can't get myself out of bed, and I'm just like... Feel you, bro.
I like that, but what I don't like is the fact that he's fucking standing on his bed when they had a sprite for a Koopa laying down in 64. What the fuck? Stop standing on your goddamn bed.
Yeah. I feel like I don't have a lot to say about the Thousand Year Door. Like I said, like a lot of the Paper Mario series is just general feelings for me.
Yeah, the Thousand Year Door is a very great game, and I do love what it does, and I feel it's a very, very, very close second to 64. But it does have its issues, which I think we need to go into.
Kind of touching on that original species thing again, before we get into complaints, this is another praise. I like that the villains of the game, like the ultimate villain, the Shadow Queen and the Shadow Sirens, they're an entirely new species, but they still feel like weird and mysterious.
Mario characters. They feel like Mario-ish characters.
Yeah. I mean, that can be said about everything.
Before we go to the complaints, actually, let's talk about some special, like, specific characters. I absolutely love Vivian and Dupless. It's such a shame that they're such major parts of the worst chapter in the entire goddamn game.
Yeah. Dupless makes up for all the crap he causes you, I feel, in the final dungeon, honestly.
Yeah. I love Dupless. He's just a great character.
I feel like this is obvious to say, but we are legally obligated to bring it up as long as we're talking about Vivian. I get why they did it. They're Nintendo. It's a sign of the times. America's not okay with that. But I'm still a little sad that Vivian, like, they had to remove her trans status in the English version.
Well, when you think about it, not necessarily.
Oh yeah, no,
a girl still. They don't bring to mention that it's a transgender character.
Yeah, there's nothing to specifically disprove it, which in my brain is the same as saying that the original intention is still the intention. It's just, it's not something you're able to, like, know or pick up on or relate to. Or it doesn't count as representation anymore because there's no way to know it without looking at supplemental material.
Right. But it's a step in the right direction. Because even, like, in the Japanese version, like, Vivian wasn't seen in a negative light because her sisters are absolute assholes. Mainly Beldam is a complete and utter asshole.
That's kind of the amazing
And they play
thing.
her as a very innocent, like, good, nice role. You want to hug Vivian and tell her that everything will be okay.
Usually the only reason they're able to have trans characters in Japanese video games, but not English ones, is because it's more okay to joke about trans characters in Japanese video games, but Vivian was not, like, the punchline.
Never a joke. She was a character that you just felt bad for everything that happened to her. So that's why I feel like it's a step in the right direction.
Nintendo is kind of weirdly progressive about trans issues. Because, Birdo's a trans character too. Originally, Birdo was a joke. It was just like a one-off, haha, she thinks she's a girl in the original Mario 2 manual. But, no, ever since then, they've played it completely straight.
Yeah, and it's nice. Though people can like to say that Birdo, being a transgender male to female, is for the entire series, or species of Birdos, which, I mean, there can be more than one Birdo, guys, calm down. The main Birdo that you see in the games is the Birdo that's male to female, but it's not
like
necessarily...
Yoshi. It's like Yoshi. Yoshi is a species, but whenever you're playing a sport Mario game and there's a Yoshi, you assume it's the same Yoshi.
Yeah. Whereas, all the Toads... Hi, my name's Toad. I'm also Toad. By the way, my name, it's Toad.
Yeah, no, even in the sport games, like Mario Party, Mario Kart, whatever, I do assume that every single Toad is a different Toad. I assume that every round of golf I play in Toadstool Tour, I am playing as a different Toad.
Right. But, by the way, Dupless, it's going to be a pain in the ass if you do this, but if you want to, you can edit this and make sure that every instance of Dupless removes the P.
I might. I am thinking I'm going to try and edit this more just because upon, like, further replays of the previous one, I've noticed that I, like, click my teeth and smack my lips a lot, and I want to kind of edit that out.
Ah.
Yeah, I will definitely do that. That'll be fun.
Yes. That's going to be great. Yeah. I like Dupless, I like Vivian. I actually think that I like all the partners in Thousand Year Door more than I do in 64. Because I love the partners in 64, but, you know, I only really cared about Watt because that's the best partner in the game. But every partner in Thousand Year Door is a full-on character that you, like, love and adore, and they have their own issues, and you feel bad for them. Like, holy shit. Bobbery.
They did
Vivian.
something really hard in that game where, like, usually, but when you have characters like that, they stop being their own character once they're your partner. But because every character gets, like, character-specific lines if they're out at a certain time, and you get emails from their friends and family members and whatever, they continue, like, feeling well-rounded and continue to develop throughout the entire game.
Right, and you got letters for the
Bobbery
characters
breaks my
in the first
heart.
game. Yeah, Bobbery.
I do like that once he gets over his wah, my wife is dead, and wah, I'm dying phases, he just turns into the most badass sea captain ever.
Yes, Bobbery is.
I mean, like,
he's a great character.
All the sad buildup is why I like him. Like, him
Yes.
being a badass without that buildup wouldn't be the same. I'm just saying, I really appreciate that it's just like a switch. He flips.
Yeah.
And then he stays on my party the entire rest of the game because he does 9 damage per hit.
Yeah. Though Goombella is still probably technically the better character for that.
I guess I just don't like Goombella that much.
Really?
Well, I mean, I don't dislike her. I love all the partners, but
Yeah, Goombella. She's very good partner damage-wise, but then the other characters are so interesting. Except maybe Koops. He's just kind of. Eh. I mean, I don't hate him, but I like him. I like him, but you know, I kind of. Him and Flurry are my least favorite partners of the game.
yeah, Flurry is my absolute least favorite. I think one of the bigger reasons I don't like Goombella is just I have a natural bias to, like, staying away from the beginner partner as soon as I have another one.
Yeah.
Yeah, Flurry sucks.
Yeah. I like Miss Mouse, even though she's an optional one. I like her. She's a good character.
I only get Miss Mouse because I feel obligated to, and also because I like doing the Flavio glitch.
Well, whenever I'm not doing the Flavio glitch, which I technically haven't done before, but I plan to for the channel. Ew. But, whenever I get her at the same time I get the up arrow, because they both are gotten at Hooktail's castle, so, you know, I mean, you can get her a chapter before that, but also, you're getting Bobbery that chapter, don't really need Miss Mouse, and I like, you know, I like to have, like, a partner per chapter. So I like getting Miss Mouse for the Poshley Heights.
I actually do remember being really confused and upset as a kid because Miss Mouse's silhouette appears on the Chapter 6 intro screen, but then you don't get her naturally in Chapter 6. So I was like, oh my god, did I break the game? I didn't get a partner. I was supposed to get a partner.
She appears in the silhouette screen?
Yeah, like you know, at the chapter intro screen, you always get a silhouette of the boss and the partner you get.
That's Paper Mario 64.
No, it's...
No, Thousand Year Door is the spinning emblem, with Mario, Bowser, Peach, and the X-Naut symbol.
I might be thinking about the guide.
You were thinking about the guide.
I was thinking about the guide.
You were thinking about the guide and Paper Mario 64.
Yeah, because the guide modeled its pages after Mario 64 for some reason. It's a really good guide, though. Like that's really a propos of nothing, but no, it's a wonderful thing. I think I actually got it for free because I resubscribed to Nintendo Power the same month it came out, just as a coincidence.
Ah. But, yeah. Paper Mario 60... No, not 64. 1,000 Year Door.
Tit Yard.
Yeah, Tit Yard.
It's
a good game.
We've been putting off complaining about it long enough. I was thinking, like, maybe we should save it until we're talking about, Super, because Super has a comparable level, but let's talk about the worst part of the 1,000 Year Door.
There's two really bad parts.
The entirety of Chapter 4.
Yes, you go into Chapter 4, I have something special about the other really shitty thing.
One of my big things is that, like, bad things are just bad, but bad things that had potential or bad things that had easy fixes are just completely unforgivable. Chapter 4, so fucking much backtracking. You have to go through Twilight Trail a minimum of, 5 times?
At least.
Yeah, and one of those times you don't have a partner, and another one of those times you have a partner that's ineffective and you're not good with.
Yeah.
Okay, so just hear me out here, Proto. If they put a pipe from Creepy Steeple to Twilight Town, so you didn't have to backtrack through Twilight Trail each time, and then they just added, like, a gauntlet underneath Creepy Steeple. So each time you went back to Creepy Steeple, you had to go through, like, a new hallway filled with new enemies.
That would be perfect.
Yeah, same difficulty, same amount of experience. You'd be able to balance the different hallways for which characters you're going to be playing as at those specific points.
It would be perfect.
I mean, even taking out the fact that you have to fight frickin' hyperclefts alone.
Hyperclefts, Amazy Daisies.
Yeah, and you know, hyperclefts are the ones that kill me, because Vivian can't touch them, basically.
Right. You basically have to run away from them.
Run away from them, or if you're smart, you use Quake Hammer. Quake Hammer is one of the badges, it's one of the first ones you get, never take it off. It's useful for so many things.
Unless you have the Spike Shield on. Which you only get, like, after you get Vivian, so...
Even if you have the Spike Shield on, Hyperclefts No, Hyperclefts have, like, 2 or 3 defense when they're upright. If you use the Quake Hammer, they flip upside down, 0 defense.
True, but I think at that point in the game, you'll have, like, enough for a power-up or 2, and
yeah,
at that point, like, when you've got power-ups, the damage you can do with jumps is way more than you can with a hammer. So...
You also can't get the Spike Shield until after Chapter 4.
Exactly. That's actually, you know, that's why I said you can't get the Spike Shield until you get Vivian. So, and that's the biggest issue. But you know, once I got the Spike Shield, I turned on that Jumpman badge, and I never took it off.
But yeah, Chapter 4 and the aforementioned Prince Mush battle that should have happened but didn't are the 2 reasons that I feel are completely solid proof that the development time got cut short. I'm happy that those are the only 2 things that really suffered for it, but God did they suffer.
Yes. And I believe that there are 2 specific things that the developers did just to fucking piss on your face.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
I want to fucking slice General White with a rusty scalpel until he bleeds to death for years. I want him to suffer for all of eternity. I fucking hate him.
Keep him pumped up full of adrenaline so he doesn't die from blood loss while you fuck the knife wounds?
No, better. Get a Houndoom, which their burns last forever. Use that to light his fuse so he'll constantly be in pain, exploding over and over and over again. And then we can assume that they only age when they're not exploding. So when he's constantly exploding, even when the entire fucking world ends, he will still be in constant pain, exploding. He will not be able to think, he will not be able to see, he will just be there suffering.
I
hate General White, and I hate his side quest.
I appreciate and I sympathize with your anger. It would still end up being like I have no mouth and I must scream scenario, but I do need to point out that most of the bombs in the Paper Mario franchise make it sound like exploding is a pleasant experience.
Well, you also realize that most of the bombs are batshit insane.
That too.
Like,
I'm just saying, like, having him explode constantly forever wouldn't be like having a normal person explode constantly forever. It would be like taping a vibrator to his taint for the rest of eternity.
Either way, I hate him, and I hate the fact that you gotta do that shit twice if you're doing the fucking side quests. I hate him! Ah! Because he goes to fucking places. He goes to fucking places that you can't always reach with the damn blue pipes. See, he goes to some. He goes to like Keel Hall Key. He goes to the Koopa Village or shit like that. But then he goes to the fucking Blitz Pit, and you gotta walk all the way over, get back through the sewers, go all the way up around to the fucking blimp, ride that piece of shit, go to the juice bar, say, oh, he's not here, then go all the way back to the fucking blimp, ride all the way back, go back down to the sewers, go all the way to the goddamn puny tree. Ah!
The only thing I am going to say is on repeated playthroughs, General White bothered me a lot less. I think mostly just because I was able to prepare myself for it. But yeah, that was pretty bullshit.
And that's just the one of the things that makes me feel that the developers did shit to piss you off. The other one, as much as I love the battle system, fuck the battle events.
Fog?
Fog, freezing you, a meteor dropping on your fucking head, Shy Guys messing with you, the audience in general, the fucking bingo, fuck that bingo! I got like 5 poison mushrooms in my last playthrough!
God, poison mushrooms are the only ones I ever seem to be able to land. I will say, I feel like a lot of the battle events make the, like, normal battles, it gives you just enough variety to keep you interested. Otherwise, I think you would, like, get really tired of the battle system really fast.
I guess maybe, but another issue is that you can't, like, pause to take a piss, or you're called away for something important because the audience will throw shit at you when you're not doing something, and that's great.
That's why you only walk away to take a piss when there's no X-Nuts in the audience, because then they only throw good things.
Sometimes dry bones throw bones.
The only thing that pisses me off, like, irreconcilably about the audience system is, I feel like for scripted, important fights, the events should be turned off.
Yes.
Like it is completely not okay and unfair if I get frozen in my battle against the Shadow Queen. But if I'm just fighting, like, Shy Guy number 36 when I'm backtracking for the millionth time, I couldn't think of words. but you get what I'm saying. Like, just on the overworld, it gives you variety.
It's not that bad on the overworld, unless, again, fucking meteor hits you, and, that just ruins your day.
I've never been hit by a meteor.
I've been hit by a meteor once, and I died because of it, and I didn't have a life shroom.
I've also never won the slots machine in the parlor, so maybe that's my trade-off.
How do you not win that? You just hit A.
I know how it works.
You don't hit it like super fast.
I've never won it. I've just never won it.
That's weird. That's really weird.
I've just never won it. Like I said, I feel like that's the trade-off. Like, the stage never fucks with me too much, but I don't win any of the minigames.
Fair enough, I guess. It's still... Man. So, is that all of our complaints on Thousand Year Door?
I'm sure there's a couple tiny ones here and there we missed, but we're already...
Oh yeah, the fucking Blitz Pit. Yeah, can't I just say, oh hey, you're fighting the Iron Adonis twins, right? Well, we're just gonna say, you can't use your goddamn partner. Do it yourself.
Yeah. But I mean, like, that's the same thing with the stage events.
Yeah,
if you didn't
it's in that same general thing.
If you didn't have the additional requirements, the Glitz Pit would be such a boring chapter. It's
exactly. And I do like them when they're interesting. Like, I love it when I actually, like, when I have to not use my partner at the same time I get that poison cake. Because it
then
makes
you can
it harder.
poison your partner!
Yeah, you can poison your partner and you won't have any bad side effects. I mean, you won't get a second turn to heal, but, you know, it's not that bad. You know, I'm fighting Chain Chomp, so fuck.
You know, like when it tells me not to jump or not to use my hammer is the only times where I will not jump in the entire game.
Yeah, jumping just does so much damage.
Yeah, but
compared to your hammer. Once you get a power increase badge at all, like, goodbye hammer.
like, the final fight is always you need to use at least one special move. So obviously they know how to program it to be a specific thing. For that Iron Adonis Twins fight, you think they could, like, always program it to be, like, don't jump, just so it's not annoying.
Right. Or, like, oh, take damage 5 times against the Dark Koopa Troll. Alright.
Hurts. Yeah.
Sure, I can do that.
At least there's no penalty for losing. Like, that's...
Right.
That's
There's no
at
major
least
penalty
nice.
for losing.
Yeah.
Right.
No,
I like that.
One of my favorite things about the Glitz Pit chapter is if you don't eat the good cake, when you come back, the Craw eats the cake instead.
The Dark Koopa. The Dark Koopa eats the cake instead.
I could have sworn it was the Craw. Whatever. The guy who eats the Koopa Troll, whatever. The guy who eats the cake, he says, like, "Hey, Gonzalez, I ate your cake. It was delicious. You idiot." And it just, I don't know.
Yeah.
It got me in hysterics the first time.
Yeah, and then he eats the other cake, and he's like, "I can never trust cake again."
Serves him right for eating other people's cake.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, granted, I wouldn't want cake to spoil either. How?
Yeah, but wait. I mean, it's not going to spoil
so I guess the
duration of a single fight.
Well,
now that I
you
think
never
about
know, like...
Mario and his partner both eat the poisoned cake, don't they? Why does only the partner get poisoned?
The partner eats the cake before Mario does.
Oh.
Mario uses their partner as a taste tester because he's dealt with poisoned food before. He wants someone else to taste test that shit first. He's been to conventions. He's a popular man at conventions. And you know how a lot of popular people get gifts that have foods with, like, needles in them.
I'm pretty sure that happened, like, exactly once recently.
Yes,
and it's horrible.
That's what I was referencing.
Oh, okay.
That's what I was referencing.
I mean,
yeah.
it honestly wouldn't surprise me if we ever get famous enough to go to conventions, I'm never going to accept food, because even if people don't try to kill us with needles, like, I can say with almost absolute certainty that any cookie someone gives me has semen in it.